apologized to me. She also told me that she wanted to, quote, jump in front of a car. However, at one point, she asked me to let her know when I was going to the police with this case for her own benefit. Of course, I did not do that. She knows what happened and she doesn't care. Janet is just one of the few people who have tried to protect him, and the others will now know exactly who they are. The pain that the defendant has caused me is indescribable, and it worsens every day. Being used by somebody who meant the world to me has left me feeling more hurt than I've ever been before. I am now 19 and my life hasn't been the same since I was 15. I think about these crimes every single day. I feel like I'm in a constant dark place. Sometimes I wish I could disappear so I can forget about what happened. Right after I reported him, my parents sent me to a therapist. So far, they have spent $7,620 in hopes that she can help me move forward from this. These crimes have especially impacted my relationship with my aunt. For a while, I could not fathom how my aunt had no idea what was going on, and that made me doubt the trust that I had in her. To this day, there is still tension and awkwardness between her and myself. Every time I speak to her and look at her, I think about the defendant and what he did to me. My relationship with my aunt will never be the same, and that breaks my heart. My whole family is hurting because I am hurting. Their trust in my aunt has been affected too. My aunt blames herself for leaving me alone with the defendant. My parents blame themselves for placing their trust in my aunt to protect me and keep me safe. It's awful to hear them say that. Every night, I dread going to sleep because I don't want to see him in my nightmares. I have lost many nights of sleep because of this. I've lost count over how many times I fell asleep in class when I was in high school due to so many sleepless nights. I also occasionally had to leave school early due to having panic attacks that were triggered by these incidents. During these panic attacks, I would struggle to breathe, sweat, shake, cry, and often faint. When I do sleep and do see him in my nightmares, it throws off my entire day. I'm sorry. These crimes have affected my dating life as well. Every day I have since gone on has ended with me going home crying. Every time I feel the slightest bit vulnerable around a guy, all I can think of and see is the defendant. I have serious trust issues because of him. Dating your teenage years should be a fun experience and should not be something that brings up trauma caused by a grown man. The defendant's crimes against me are the worst things that he could have ever done to me. He was such a huge part of my childhood, and in return, he ruined my life.
The fourth degree, attempted child endangerment, and a misdemeanor disseminating, neither of which require any sexual registration. The chat that was referred to by Prosecutor Bringman was the dissemination, and that did create a risk of harm to then minor, now adult, and I think we're just going by initials, SG in this case. If not, it doesn't matter. Names, do you want victim or SG? Doesn't matter, but I'll leave it to you. Victim. All right. prosecutors asked that I just refer to this person as victim, so I will do that for purposes of this hearing. You know, there have been a lot of claims that were made by the victim here, and it's not often, or can I even recall an instance where defense counsel at sentencing had to address the credibility of the victim's allegations at sentencing. But this appears to be that time. I will simply say this, some of these claims that were made about sending photos of genitals, we went through these claims with the prosecutor's office for a long time, approximately 18 months. No such image was presented, either to the state or to the defense. The claim that he is a pedophile lacks any sort of factual support from the case, and it also lacks any sort of mental health claim. It's an easy tag to give someone, but doesn't fit in this case. Clearly, the victim in this case, and again, it's difficult because it's hard for me to walk the very fine line in this case between what he did and what he's being accused of doing, that which he accepted responsibility for and that which he would never accept responsibility for.
I'm going to ask you, what is he accepting responsibility for?
So the acceptance of the responsibility, Your Honor, is for chats that occurred between he and the victim.
What was the subject matter of those chats?
The subject matter of those chats were there was a lot to it. So there was discussion because they had known each other for years, and there were claims that became sexual in nature. When asked, however, at what point, or at your age, excuse me, at that point, he said, "Can you hurry up?" which shows a complete intent not to engage with a minor. So, however, those chats, harmful as they were, clearly harmed this person at that time.
They were sexual in nature.
Those were, yes. Thank you. They certainly, however, Your Honor, did not mimic any of the factual scenarios that the victim has brought up here today. And again, I have to emphasize the fact that once the age was known, that terminated at that point, saying hurry up with the age. But I will say this.
Let me ask you this.
Yes,
You're
please.
saying he didn't know how old she was when he first started engaging in conversations with her, either at a concert or by telephone. He didn't know that her age.
At the start, he may not have known. He did learn of the age at a later time, Your Honor, and that is why he's accepting the plea. What's it? Yeah, during the chats, Your Honor. Kevin, you have the dates on the chats? The chats, correct? You would agree? Yeah. So the state and defense would agree the age was mentioned during those chats, Your Honor. All right. So, Your Honor, other than, this offense for which he's pled guilty, this court is aware that there were two OVIs, but nothing ever similar to anything like this. We would ask for basic community controlled sanction, which would then be transferred to California. That certainly would be sufficient pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 29, 29, 11, 12, 13, and 14, because in this case, recidivism does not appear likely, and nor does the severity of it outweigh any similar offenses by similar offenders when we're looking at what was actually pled to in this case. The claim that seeing the therapist resulted from this